extremely bad for them yet, considering the scoreline, considering there's still plenty of series to go. But this is the map where if they want to bring back the hope that a lot of people had for the roster coming into this season, they need to start picking it up.
So Revival setting up on the attack here. We'll see what their final composition is going to be. Usually get some swaps. Hanzo not going to be in play. Instead, it's going to be a 3-3 setup out here from Revival. As they look to set up. Meanwhile for Tea Party, running 3-2-1 with Sombra, but it does mean they're vulnerable here in the first attack.
For Revival, they need to look to engage aggressively here. They know that Freedom's on the Sombra. You see this positioning. Good break for the hack from Boger. And now they go forward. Now they move forward, try to isolate a single person. It might be a Spades. He's so low.
His Spades down already. It comes at cost for apply, but you're totally okay with this. If you're the offense, they're going even deeper. And Revival striking pretty deeply in the Tea Party territory here. And that's what you need to do when you're up against a Sombra comp. You cannot waste time. They get direct to end point. About to get a second tick, but Tea Party can have an opportunity here perhaps to start getting back onto the point. Sleep on the Boger, that opens the gates. An opportunity here. Boger's gonna fall, and Tea Party not done on point A yet.
Incredible play from Blub there. Getting the sleep onto Boger. There wasn't a bubble currently out there for him. They weren't able to predict it. And then hitting the sleep in addition. That wins the fight immediately for Tea Party, who've now been able to recontest. They've given up a lot of ticks, 94% already for Revival. But Freedom now has EMP. Amadian has grab. We're in the ult cycle.
And that's really good for Freedom, where it started out pretty slow, but built a lot of EMP towards the end of that last fight. Didn't have to use it to bring it on back. Now they can use EMP this fight. Pressure coming in from Revival. They open the Nano. Boger gonna get slept again. Freedom holding on to EMP, and they don't even use EMP. Just the grab was enough.
Chasey now trying to cap down some of these frags. Paintbrush going down a little late. And for Revival, they only used Nano. Only a Nano for a grab, along with Blub's opposing Nano. So that's a good trade. That is a good trade, even if they didn't win the fight. Now all they have to do is make sure that they can somehow work against Freedom's EMP and the shadow that Ace of Spades has. But the problem is Paintbrush doesn't have beat.
Well, you're going to see Freedom dropping down. EMP's 4, sets up the shatter on the other side. And that's more than enough to take hardest out of the fight. Amadian's going to be there in the cleanup. And the cleanup coming from the Zarya is super important. Look at Amadian's charge, 60% now for the next fight.
If you're Revival, you see the EMP, the shatter has been used. You know that Blood probably will not have Nano yet. This is your fight. This is your fight to move forward, to take aggressively, regardless of Antal will have beat. You set up your grab because it's a free grab. There is no D.Va to eat. There is no D.Va to deny. And then all you need to do is swing. You can even rally on it. Just swing for free. They need to go aggressive right now.
He's moving towards that point. Graviton, get connect. The bomb out for Revival. Combo on with it. Takes down one. 6 on 5. Boger going to drop the shatter on the other side. Puts 2 to the floor. And Revival finally going to get point A, but that's still a very, very good defense coming in from Tea Party.
You see the chase happening hardest. And Boger coming forward with Paintbrush. They're trying to get Amadian. They want to deny this energy. They do deny it. They also might be able to catch another one. No, Antal going to be able to zoom on out of there. And for Revival, when I see their play here, this seems like a team that, I mean, you could see the remnants of Mayhem Academy, because not only because they have players from there, but they seem much more comfortable on 3-3 and the win conditions within 3-3 and versus Sombra Goats than they do on the DPS and they do in the 2-2-2 setups. They seem a lot more comfortable on that. And so this is where Revival, I think King's Row is a map that is great for them.
The problem is, of course, that the meta is definitely shifting away from 3-3 and elements. So, yeah, it's King's Row. You can run this and still do well, but what does it mean for the other maps? To be discussed later. As Tea Party looking to take the fight here and now. And of course, got the barrier out. Revival shatter coming on down. Spades moving in off that Nano boost, leading the way, and Tea Party off of the movement from Ace of Spades going to be winning the fight.
Tea Party was able to force the beat for Paintbrush with the aggression with the EMP, and then Freedom just stripped it. Freedom just stripped beat with the EMP, which is something that it can't be happening. You've seen it happen in Overwatch League. Some teams that have struggled, that have been very top tier with this, has been shocked. And the reality is, as Lucio, is you're sort of in a catch-22 where you must not beat until EMP goes out. You simply must hold it, even if your team dies. And that's sort of the knife to the throat, in a way, that Tea Party holds the Revival there when it's EMP versus beat.
Tea Party holding a little bit further back. Revival, just again, playing the neutral game between both teams. Freedom, quite a bit away from another EMP. So this is time for Revival to strike, to be more aggressive. Revival moving in. Graviton going to be invested. Let the grab get in the backhand side. You're going to see 3 falling. Revival will get the Bionade up on in. So Tea Party going to fall here. And now for Tea Party, can Tea Party even get back in time to point B?
Tea Party can. Tea Party are going to be able to move back in. They're going to be able to look for the recontest. They have grab. They have shatter. The real question for Tea Party is they can get back, But can they get back without feeding an incredible amount of ult charge and winning the fight for Revival? Because even though Revival have no ults, besides maybe the bomb coming up from Manitin, is they have to get to the point, they have to contest it without losing anyone, and get value out of their ults. And the post-fight for Revival is going to be much better because of positioning.
So Tea Party, they do get back, just barely. Graviton ready, Amadian looking for a target. D.Va on the other side. This is a prime opposite or time for a D.Va to come in and get a grab beat. But instead, they just walk on forward. They make it a little bit easier. Bomb, though, comes out while the grab is out. And 2 fall before the bomb even explodes. Tea Party in a much better spot here. The shadow from Ace of Spades is going to be making it even easier as Tea Party repels Revival. They get back in time. More importantly, they have an EMP for the next fight.
Tea Party played that excellently, mainly because they didn't engage. They waited. They just sat there and took the fight in neutral, didn't use any ults until they saw an opening from Manitin Sleep where they could use the grab. Because they knew Revival had no ults. They knew Revival was going to have to sit there. They were in a purely neutral fight, could not engage. So Tea Party sat there, built their own, waited for the right opportunity, took time off the clock, and then engaged. And now Freedom has EMP. Revival still doesn't have either support ult, not even the rally for apply. And the EMP is just an instant fight win.
This is the final fight coming on up. Manitin, with the snooze as Revival sets on up, but Freedom holding in the back. Doesn't drop the EMP yet. Biding his time, and the EMP now going to strike. Hits 3. And the rest of Tea Party moving on in after it. Boger and Manitin, rough shape, but they're going to fall. Just follow through after the EMP. And that's going to seal the deal here. It's going to be a point B hold here for Tea Party. Revival, they might have a little bit of stagger, but that's not going to be enough to bring this back.
This will be the hold for Tea Party on second, a little bit before second, realistically, but getting it about that far. And Tea Party's ult usage and contests when their Sombra play have been fantastic. And you see some of this meta shift that has occurred even without realistically a balance patch, is that the use of Sombra. And Revival, despite being a team that seems to be more comfortable on 3-3, was having a lot of problems dealing with it. They were having a lot of problems dealing with that ult economy cycle that Tea Party can get with that Sombra Goats, with the Zarya. And now they have to have an even better hold. And we've talked about this previously, where the best defense is a good offense, because it's hard to have perfect defenses when you have an imperfect offense. And this is really not quite at perfect defense level for Revival, but close. They have to have a very, very good defense.
And the problem is that you don't really see full holds on King's Row Point A anymore. I would actually argue that they've become more rare now than really any other stage in Overwatch, where, again, is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? No. But if they don't get the first hold on Point A, holding a team on streets in King's Row is very, very difficult. I mean, King's Row is probably one of the most completed of hybrid maps in general. So Revival is going to have to find another gear here, or they're going to be finding themselves down 2-1 heading into our 4th map.
And part of that earlier reason that we don't see those first holds happening more often, realistically all the time now, and besides just King's Row, is that there's the option for teams like Tea Party to play a lot more Sombra. And you know what's great at winning just 2 fights that's really necessary to get not even quite the second, to get the second cap, is Sombra, because you just need 2 critical fights.
Revival on the defense here, going with the Junkrat powered defense apply. Be holding the Bastion, or holding on to Junkrat, hardest onto the Bastion. And we'll see if this is going to be enough to keep Tea Party out. It is something that, ult economy wise, is not quite as good as a Sombra kit, but can be pretty tricky to deal with.
See Tea Party going back to the spawn and just going to make full swaps here into Shield Break. They get a Widow, they get a Pharah, they get a Hanzo. Actually, it's going to be the quad DPS, which we've seen a lot of teams now, even at the Overwatch level. I mean, Titans exclusively didn't even run tanks when they played it, but you just get more DPS, and you break the shield for Boger, and you go forward and you move forward and you take space, because Revival can't deny you the space. They were hoping for you to play tanks so they can shred them with their positioning, but with multiple DPS heroes that are very mobile, you can win the shield war and not get caught.
This is enough to easily crack the Orisa shield. And all right, Tea Party getting a bit of space from this as a result. Revival having to constantly move around. They can't give a static spam target. And you're seeing some of the benefits of this composition. Junkrat's picked off. Blub, the arrow, can hit its mark. 6 on 5 for the Tea Party. And Tea Party now, they've set up with their Orisa of their own, and Revival in a bit of a spot here.
With Manitin going down, even though Ace of Spades will fall, then get the res. Manitin is not there to eat any of this damage for the multiple DPS members of Tea Party. They can't deny the angles either anymore. He can't contest. So now Revival have to touch the point, but they're going to lose the shield war, and they're going to eventually, slowly but surely, lose every pick.
Going really, really well for Tea Party. Amadian able to clean up once the shield is out of the way. And Tea Party, just methodically dissecting the point. Revival's not going to get the point A hold that they really needed to win this map. And now they have to somehow hold for about 5 minutes on point B. Much easier said than done. And it appears that this is going to be the composition they use here for point B.
On top of the fact that they didn't get the hold they wanted, ZP, is that FTU's Trance. They were making a swap onto Ana now, but they would have loved to have a Trance versus Freedom's EMP. They have EMP Barrage for this coming fight. And if they lose that next fight, Tea Party's going to have Supercharger, they'll have Dragon Strike. As see Revival, they haven't even decided. They're actually still making swaps in spawn. Boger now going to go Winston. So we are seeing, and look, Apply going Brigida, they're still swapping in spawn, ZP. They're still swapping to counter Tea Party.
Meanwhile, Tea Party's just enjoying all the free progress that they're getting, while Revival has essentially lost a team fight that never occurred. It's a team fight versus themselves.
The worst team fight of them all. We see Revival now entering. There's the Valkyrie, the Dragon Strike to make the space to split Revival. Far trying to isolate, trying to find anyone he can look at this barrage on.
Audion already one pick off. The EMP gonna make it easy for the rest of Tea Party. And they just roll through what appeared to be a very confused Revival team, where finally they come out of spawn, and the end result also not very good. It's gonna be Tea Party taking the lead in the series 2-1 off of a very dominant King's Row.
And if you're Revival, are you losing to Tea Party? Correct. Objectively, you are losing to Tea Party. But you know who is a big factor in you losing to Tea Party? It's not just Tea Party. It's your swaps.
Yeah.
You're losing to yourself is what you said. If they had gone 3-3 standard in a completely neutral fight and kept the Ana and just immediately taken a fight earlier in Streets, they would have time for a recontest. And they would have forced Tea Party to use an EMP, a Supercharger, Barrage, any of those ults earlier, and maybe built up some of their own for their coming fight. But because they sat and spawned so long, they only had one fight, and all the ults were available for Tea Party.
I mean, right now, as you say, Revival isn't just fighting against Tea Party, they're also fighting against Doppelganger Revival, you know, complete with goatee is what's going on here. It's just, mistakes are being made that should not be being made by a team like Revival. For a team with the veteran experience that they have, there's plenty of players on this team that last season were on the undefeated regular season MAME Academy team. And yes, they've lost a lot of valuable parts, but even with the roster shifts, these are fundamental mistakes that are being made. And Tea Party, credit to their core that's been around, where they were able to pick themselves off after a, you know, pretty tough first map. They go, okay, we still got this. They came back in much stronger on map 2, and map 3, it's not even close.
And now for Revival, we have to repeat the adage that it's time to pick it up. It's time to pick it up. It is time to figure out what are you going to be swapping. Do you know the counters to the comps that you're going to be playing? Because this is the meta now. The meta has become a lot more rock, paper, scissors than it was before. You are not just playing 3-3. You're not just maybe occasionally swapping something else. There is a constant swap for certain points on how do you deal with Sombra Goats? How do you deal with 3-3? How do you deal with triple DPS? How do you deal with quad DPS? How do you deal with bunker? There's a lot more swaps to be made. And fundamentally, it's not that any of the Revival players are playing on an individually poor level. They're just losing the swap game.
It's one of those situations where I understand why Revival is having the issues that they're having, but this is a tough format to show it. And I mean, again, the Mangachu news did come out short notice. I mean, literally last match they played, Mangachu was in. So I guess it's hard to be too tough on it. But so you focus on the other end for Tea Party. Tea Party is playing the meta in a proper way, as they should be right now.
Looking increasingly strong for Tea Party. And I talked a little bit about the results previous to this matchup. They took XL2 to essentially they drew a map. They took a map off them. It was a 2-1 versus XL2. They've had some other performances, though they did get smashed over before this. And that you see these flashes of brilliance for Tea Party, and this is a squad that seems to be much more in tune with the meta, that has a lot of individual talent.
Yeah.
And they're looking strong. They're looking strong. They're looking like they're going to continue to shoot up. And at this rate, it's very likely that we could see them at a playoff contenders level team.
I think so. I think for Tea Party, it's a very promising sign where they already showed us flashes of big mechanical skill going all the way back to week 1. And now as we're in week 3, they're looking quite good against an admittedly battered core, but still a core of a team that was arguably the favorite to go to the Atlantic Showdown a season before. But now we head into Dorado, where it's still any team's game. If Revival can show up in their map 1 form as opposed to their King's Row form, we could be heading to a map 5. Perfect for caster endurance day.
This is definitely a perfect scenario. As Amadian doing a little bit of roof surfing here. Look at this position, trying to get that early. He actually gets the headshot onto Boger. A little bit of nice Widow tech there from Amadian. I'm going to repeat here again. As Freedom finds Hardest in the back already. That's an early pickoff. Tea Party now setting up on the high ground, going to control the pack, going to put Far and Amadian on these off angles to get the spam they need onto Boger.
So, again, it's going to be Pharah Widow versus Pharah Widow. And thus far, the Pharah Widow game has been going a lot better for Tea Party.
See Revival making these swaps now, looking to move back in. Hardest taking the duel versus Far. And Far consistently outdueling him, actually winning the duel immediately. Oh my goodness!
The slam dunk! The fall through alley-oop, or alley-oop.
The alley-loop.
The alley-loop.
The alley-loop. I mean, Far is loopy right now. He's kind of crazy. This is some nutty shots that Far is hitting.
And Tea Party in a very good spot right now. Revival having the wait. Reconsider. And now Far just going to back out a little bit and give a little bit of room here for Amadi and to give some support.
Boger currently sleeping. Far going to go back, take these duels. And the reality of the triple DPS versus triple DS with Orisa is that often whoever is hitting more shots is winning the fights. There isn't necessarily a greater team strategy. It is just, I'm winning the duels, so I am winning the game.
Hardest dueling up above. Hardest doing a little bit better this time around. Valkyrie can be invested here by Entol on the Tea Party side as Revival still looking for a crucial pickoff one way or another. And the Pharahs up here on the rooftops fighting each other, far removed from the rest of the game.
Far continuing hitting rocket after rocket. The EMP is out. Ace of Spades down. Freedom actually going to be committing his own EMP, but the fight's already done.
And this is where being the team that EMP second, usually not a great position to be in. Manitin finds the EMP first, apply. Excellent shot off the infra site. And this is decisive enough that I think this gets Revival first point outright. I don't think Tea Party has enough time to make a good contest here in point A.
I think you may be right with that ZP.
They might
set
try
up.
anyways.
It looks like they might going to try because there is no EMP available for Revival. But if they try and they fail, this is a lot of point presence, a lot of ult they're going to lose.
Well, they're going to use the nano boost on the Ace of Spades and hope it's pay dirt in a hurry. Revival, holding on back. They get the Ana, and they've actually made this work. Positioning not mattering. Ace of Spades able to just cut on through with the nano boost. And it's rare to see a team have a fight back that late on point A, but now we've seen one of the cases in Revival. Now down to a minute 17 left to get point A.
I really like the swap Tea Party made to put Ace of Spades onto the Winston and to put Far onto the Hanzo rather than deal with the Pharah duel. Because it gives you more shield presence, it gives you the ability to play off angles even better than have to worry about Hardest to take that duel and just get a pick. And Winston is much better against the Orisa in terms of moving in and taking the space, especially while Boger has that supercharger and could just shred through your shield if you were on Orisa and you couldn't get away.
Audion already winning the battle, forcing Paintbrush to use Resurrect very early in the fight. Looking the other way. Manitin under very heavy pressure. And look at this, just turns to the left, immediately just dinks on the Hardest over the top. Amadian right now has been playing very well.
Far now looking to take some of these duels. This is the Hanzo versus the Pharah Mercy combo. Very dangerous there because you can get eliminated very quickly if you get juggled by the Rocket. Tea Party, Freedom has EMP, Mansion has EMP. We're looking at an EMP versus EMP Barrage setup.
Barrage coming on in. Ace of Spades, Primal Rage up. Tea Party looking to hold here in the courtyard. 3 in favor of Tea Party and Revival. They're essentially out of time here. Ace of Spades goes a little bit deep, but anyone from Revival even going to be able to touch a point? They've just now swapped to Emergency Hammond. They lose Paintbrush. They do get over to the payload. We are in overtime, but every member of Revival falling one by one as they move on in. Boger able to get over by a little bit of time. Final dash here for Revival. As they on over, but apply. Heroics here on the Tracer. Is this happening?
They're on point. They are fighting. Anton will drop the beat. Tea Party, though, they need to find some frags right now because of Revival's close spawns. Amadian finds 2. Ace of Spades finds another, and it's over. This is done.
Apply the last man.
Wait, it's not. Eps is back on Moira.
Yeah, Eps just got back on in. It's not over.
Apply and Eps combining there at the end, and realistically, how do they win this fight now?
Well, taking down Apply from Blub, that's how you do it. Just when you think the fight is over on multiple ends, Blub just drops the Bionade from downtown, deals with both Eps and Apply. And one way or another, this is going to be a very quick Dorado.
This is a very, very messy game, ZP. Under no circumstance should a team be able to somehow bring it back when they're down that many players. The Dragon Strike is locking off main, and they get those frags, stay on point. And then even after they win the point and own point presence, have a Moira with your Tracer, then Blub comes in and is able to find 2, partially off the ante, versus a Moira and a Tracer.
Which is not a battle that Ana should be winning.
No.
I would actually say the entire dynamic of the last minute and a half was team wins battle they shouldn't be winning, where even that emergency recontest from Tea Party where they were thrown fully off the point, they had to roll in without positioning, Revival had a full 6-up. Just the Nano Winston should not have been anywhere near that effective. Focus Fire should have won the day there for Revival. They should have been able to repel it. And that's why usually when a team goes for a last-minute recontest, it doesn't work. But Tea Party somehow gets through, and then when you think Tea Party isn't fully done, Revival makes their miracle comeback. But in the end, Payload does stop in the middle of the courtyard, and Revival on the verge of losing here to Tea Party.
So now Revival, they haven't technically lost the series yet. They have a win condition. They have the options here. But this is going to have to be a miracle hold, an incredible hold for Revival. And they see now already taking an early fight on the 3-3. Is this the Mei? Yes, apply on the Mei as well. So they just want to cycle contest the cart with the walls, with the Matrix, and bunker up in the room, minus the bunker.
What Revival needs here is 2 very, very long fights. They need to drag this out. They need to drain the clock. And it is easier said than done. But I do think the Mei wall strategy here is one of the easier ways of doing it. It's pretty difficult to get through. You buy a lot of time. You just cycle between the Rhine Shield and the Mei. And Tea Party right now is trying to figure out what to do.
Well, they're already putting far in the off angle. Paintbrush down, a lot of healing down. Has the barrage, can drop it here! Bye-bye! That is 6 members gone for Revival.
That is one way of dealing with that situation. I guess Manitin not ready on the Matrix because Far got everything he needed and more. Was Manitin hacked? Did he get hacked to set that up?
I'm not going to lie, ZP, I didn't see.
That's one thing that...
And either way, it doesn't matter because think about this. You have a Rhine Shield, you have Zarya bubbles, you even have a Mei wall. And on top of the right clicks and the freeze, you have a lot of options there. Even if it was hacked, he could have just stood in front of Far and taken the damage, just given his mech for it.
One fight territory here, Revival. They have to stall for almost 3 minutes. The EMP heading out early. Revival 3 members hacked. Boger in a really tough spot. Getting chased on down, apply. Getting taken down. And Tea Party just rolling on through. Revival losing member after member. And it's not with a bang, but it's with a whimper. The Revival falls here to Tea Party. Tea Party making Dorado look easy. And I have to say, credit where credit is due. Far with a phenomenal game on Pharah to close out Dorado.
The Pharah.
I see what you've done there.
You see what I did
I'm
there?
judging you just as harshly.
See what I did there? Well, it's done, though. Either way, not only have made that pun, but Tea Party have 3-1 Revival. And it was a brutal 3-1. It really was a brutal 3-1. That was a Dorado that there wasn't really a lot of hope for Revival at any point. I mean, Busan was close because of the C9. But other than that, I mean, Revival had that in hand. But the Volskaya, also brutal. Just a torturous push for Revival. They're not finding their comps. King's Row, equally torturous. Every map outside of Busan, they lost the swap game. They just got out-comped. They got out-meted.
We thought the storyline here would be, okay, Revival, you're going to be gaining in strength as time goes on, as you're getting used to your new roster where you've had the deal with some players getting promoted to Overwatch League, and now you have to adapt. But instead of getting stronger, they got weaker. And it was Tea Party that played better and better as the series went on, both Far and Amadian looking absolutely fantastic. And it's a great omen for a team that, again, had to fight their way through trials just to get here.
And the important part for a lot of these new upcoming teams like Tea Party, who, even though they do have some veterans with Far, in that it's a relatively new squad, not a lot of contenders experience between them, at least high-level contenders experience. And when you're coming up against more veteran squads, is you have two factors to overcome. Not only the mechanics, which is so important because it's something that always has to be taken into consideration, is your individual mechanics as a player, but the game sense and cohesion and meta understanding that a lot of times veteran presence can understand a little bit more than players that haven't been in the scene and competing as long. But Tea Party seemed to be leaps and bounds above Revival's core, and also a lot of the other veteran players.
And really for Tea Party, it's an entertaining story. It's one that's picking up speed. But guys, we still have 3 more matches left to go here today. And first match might be a quick one. Not sure the others will be as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.